This is the In-Flight News, presented for Qantas by the 9 Television Network of Australia.
Hello and welcome to the Morning News. I'm Lara Vella. Ahead in this bulletin, serious concerns for 2 brothers missing on the New South Wales North Coast. 3 NATO soldiers killed after a suicide blast rocks the US Embassy in Afghanistan. And up close and personal with a giant of the deep. There are serious concerns this morning for 2 brothers missing on the New South Wales far north coast. Jaden and Joseph Brady were last seen at their Tweed Heads home on Sunday morning. Police have been searching for the 14 and 11-year-olds who were believed to be with their father. He was arrested on Monday and is refusing to give information about their whereabouts. Anyone who sees the boys should contact 000 immediately. A mother and her baby who died after a massive explosion and fire at a convenience store in Sydney's inner west will be farewelled today. A funeral for 31-year-old Bianca O'Brien and her 1-year-old son Jude will be held in Roselle. A memorial service has already taken place for the 3rd victim, Chris Noble, at the weekend. All 3 were killed a fortnight ago when the Roselle building collapsed during the fire. Detectives are waiting on forensic results they hope will pinpoint what went so wrong before a teenage girl was killed by a car in Sydney's south. The victim's family are struggling to come to terms with the tragedy, angry that the unlicensed driver behind the wheel was granted bail.
His wife by his side, Nikhil Patel, leaves some flowers for their little girl. A loving gesture on a street corner that will now haunt them forever. These little hearts are broken too. Sobbing, all Aniri Patel's schoolmates wanted to do was sing. The sister of former first grade rugby league star Joe Nalaval was behind the wheel of this 4-wheel drive when it crashed into the Cogra chemist. 26 years old, Pui Amanta Nalaval has never had a licence. She's told investigators she was driving for her friend Heidi Watson, who'd just been disqualified from driving. Nalaval was charged with dangerous and negligent driving causing death, but still was allowed to walk free as she waits to face court. So disturbing for Aniri Patel's family, they went to the police station for some explanation.
It happened 7 years back and it happened again.
That really frustrates me, gets me quite angry that someone could do such an activity on a road in New South Wales.
She was so beautiful and she was so brilliant. She is having a very bright future. Unfortunately, it happened.
They left the local council just as disheartened, angry their daughter is the 2nd person to be killed at the same bus stop.
We just want to say that they should prevent what's going on. It's the 2nd time or 3rd time happening there.
In a statement, Cogra Council says an investigation into the accident is underway, and should any recommendations result, Council will act immediately. The government says it's sending a safety team to the site.
Anything that we can do, we will do. And obviously we'll wait for that report to come back, but we will take whatever action is necessary.
Tony Abbott has revealed our military involvement in Iraq is likely to cost the nation $500 million each year. The Prime Minister says our troops are in for a fight against Islamic militants and won't rule out going into Syria.
Tony Abbott in his very remote control room, speaking to Defence and Security Chiefs back in the Canberra briefing room.
We had a very good discussion about the Paris conference and the various developments overseas.
A world away from an Arnhem Land work shed, the opulence of the Elysee Palace in Paris, and 30 countries, including Russia and Arab states, join the war. The fight of the Iraqi people against terrorists, President Hollande said, is ours as well. We have to act together.
There is a growing international coalition, a coalition of the concerned.
While some SAS troops are already on their way to join that coalition of the concerned, it isn't, the Prime Minister still says, strictly a war.
This is a fight. There's no doubt about that. This is a fight. And we are determined to act forcefully.
A fight that could yet see our troops spread into Syria.
I'm not ruling out some action in Syria, but it is not part of the government's current intention.
The coalition firepower's building. French fighter jets flew reconnaissance missions over Iraq, and the US attacks widened, striking targets near Baghdad, the first so close to the capital.
There is no existing government which is not under mortal threat from the ISIL movement.
Tony Abbott says he understands any public or political anxiety as Labor MP Melissa Park questioned joining an open-ended war.
The drumbeat to war has started, and I think we should be really careful.
But the point I keep making is that this conflict is reaching out to us.
I don't see any alternative but to standing up and protecting Australia.
Am I allowed to kiss Marshall? Sure. OK, just for the camera.
The Prime Minister still plans to spend the full week in Arnhem Land, but may have to leave early, depending on developments. The ballpark cost of our involvement is being put at $500 million a year. A significant cost, the Prime Minister says, but worth it. Lane Kelcott, 9 News.
Overseas now, and at least 3 NATO troops and dozens of innocent bystanders have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Afghanistan. The terrorists struck an official motorcade near the US Embassy in Kabul, the explosion leaving twisted metal strewn across the road. The Taliban has reportedly claimed responsibility for the deadly attack, with the disputed presidential election raising tensions in the Arab nation. Police investigating the brutal murder of 2 British tourists in Thailand are zeroing in on 3 migrant workers in their hunt for a killer. The victims' bodies have been sent to Bangkok for forensic testing, and British consular officials have arrived on the island of Koh Tao to assist in any way they can.
2 grainy CCTV images are a critical focus for this investigation. The first shows the 2 victims walking hand in hand. The second shows a man wearing shorts but no shirt. Investigators say he is a suspect. The time on the clock is 1:51 a.m. The images have been released by the police on the island, which is now a crime scene, as the authorities work to find out who killed these 2 young Britons. Hannah Witheridge was 23, David Miller was 24. Their bodies were discovered on the western side of the small island, just yards from the beach where they'd been partying. 70 police officers are now on the island. They have no eyewitnesses, but there are some leads. A blood-stained hoe was found near the victims' bodies. Clearly that will be a focus. So too will be the post-mortem examinations. The bodies are en route to Bangkok, where detailed forensics tests can begin. There were signs that Hannah had been sexually assaulted.
Now police have collected evidence at the scene, such as a hoe, which was used to attack the victims. We also have clothes, shoes that belong to the victims, as well as other evidence. Now we're processing it all.
The investigation will look not only at the movements of other tourists, but locals too, and migrant workers. Police here are looking at clothes belonging to one foreign worker. A handgun was found. They won't confirm suggestions a phone was also seized. The authorities will need to confirm the relationship between the victims. When did they meet? Who else were they with? What bars did they go to, not only on the night they died, but in the days and evenings before?
There are concerns the deadly Ebola virus could mutate and become airborne, putting more nations at risk. US President Barack Obama is heading to the Centre for Disease Control to announce an expansion of America's role in the fight against the outbreak.
Aggressive new steps by the US in the fight against the Ebola virus. Today at the CDC, President Obama will be briefed on the deadly outbreak in West Africa. His visit comes as the administration announces Operation United Assistance. It's a significantly ramped up American response that includes a new command center in Liberia, the center of the outbreak. An American general will be in charge there, coordinating the U.S. and international relief efforts. Up to 3,000 U.S. military personnel will be on the ground to support this command center. That's double the U.S. troops currently in Iraq for the ISIS threat. ABC's chief health and medical editor, Dr. Richard Besser, was recently on the ground in West Africa. He says that if that region is unstable, it's dangerous for the U.S.
The longer this virus is out there circulating, the more chance it has to mutate. Right now, it's very hard to pick this up. You have to be in direct contact with a patient. But if the virus changes and can spread through the air, then everyone is at risk, including people in America.
The U.S. will also lead efforts to train as many as 500 healthcare providers per week to help them safely provide care to Ebola patients. But one concern for medical experts, who will actually provide the care?
When this outbreak started, there were only 50 doctors in all of Liberia, and they're saying they're going to train 500 healthcare workers. Where are they coming from?
Wildfires are raging across the western part of the US. 18 blazes are burning across 3 states, threatening homes and forcing residents to flee.
This massive wildfire tearing through a Northern California community, leaving residents scrambling to safety.
I started to smell smoke and happened to get up to see what's going on. It was so close to me, I was just shaking in my boots because I could see the fire steadily jumping.
1,500 people forced to evacuate the town of Weed as the 400-acre blaze tore through a church and burned at least 100 homes to the ground.
I still don't know if it's in jeopardy. I'm just hoping there's going to be a home to go back to.
This is one of nearly a dozen wildfires burning in California, including this one outside of Yosemite.
It was very intense, very hot, very erratic fire behavior. As you can see now, the wind behind us is starting to pick up.
And further north in Oregon, more wildfires raging out of control. In Estacada, outside of Portland, 2,300 acres already charred. Residents packing up what they can, knowing the flames are still spreading.
Are you nervous?
I am and I'm not. You know, it's like I've done everything I can possibly do. And so what's going to happen is going to happen.
Winds and triple-digit heat all fueling these fires, but some relief is in store in the next few days, with temperatures dropping and half an inch of rain in the forecast for parts of Northern California.
Well, we've heard about the economic impact of the impending referendum on Scottish independence, but in the dying days of the campaign, there's now speculation about the UK flag. If a yes majority is returned, a new flag is likely to be created with input from the public.
A pattern we take for granted that has lasted for centuries. The Union flag is the bonding symbol of our British identity. It represents 3 kingdoms, inextricably stitched together. Scotland may soon be torn from this fabric. But an emblem which has held nations together has also ignited discontent. So too the saltire, which has evolved in recent years from being the symbol of Scotland to becoming the identity of nationalism and the Yes campaign. If Scotland chooses to be independent, then the whole constitutional settlement needs to be addressed. The idea of being British may not survive, and indeed the symbol that we all share, the Union flag, may not continue to exist at all. One option is this: to remove Scotland and extend the red Irish saltire.
My goodness, look at that.
This flag was created before the Union of Parliaments in 1707, specifically to represent the fact that the King, James I and VI, had 2 kingdoms. And after this, whichever way, the Queen will have two kingdoms.
One sovereign, 2 kingdoms, but no longer united.
An esky has helped save one of 2 fishermen rescued off the New South Wales north coast. The boat capsized 5 nautical miles off Broken Head yesterday afternoon. One of the men was left clinging to an esky while the other sought safety on top of their overturned boat. A rescue helicopter was sent to winch them out of the sea, but both men were picked up by another passing vessel. Well, more detectives have joined the desperate search on the New South Wales mid-north coast for 3-year-old William Tyrrell. Moving into its 6th day, sniffer dogs have picked up no scent from the toddler who went missing from his grandmother's front yard in Kendall on Friday. Police have admitted their investigation must cover all possibilities, including that William was abducted. The senior federal MP says illegal foreign home buyers are being allowed into the country by a lazy foreign investment review board. With many international investors getting around the rules, there are calls for tougher laws.
Foreign buyers in Australian real estate are being let in unchecked, according to the head of a parliamentary inquiry investigating their impact on house prices.
Foreign Investment Review Board have said to us in evidence to the committee that they think that everybody's complying a lot better. I simply don't believe that. I think it defies credibility.
The maximum fine for anybody caught is $85,000. Kelly O'Dwyer says that's too cheap, and for foreign buyers with millions, it's simply the cost of doing business.
I think FIRB has been asleep at the wheel. I think they need to be far more proactive in enforcing the law.
The call for tougher rules on foreign buyers came as the Treasurer predicted more foreign buyers are on the way.
You're seeing quite a bit of new foreign investment into new dwellings. That may well continue for some period of time, and certainly if the Aussie dollar comes off a bit.
Foreigners who want to buy a property here can either put $5 million cash down and become known as a significant investor, or they can buy a new or off-the-plan home. But many get around these rules by using a local lawyer or relative, with almost no checking by our authorities. O'Dwyer wants the laws toughened, so in future local banks, lawyers and real estate agents might be busted.
Anybody who seeks to aid and abet somebody who is trying to contravene the rules.
And the Reserve Bank has issued another warning to all home buyers.
Don't assume prices can always and always will go up, and don't always assume interest rates will stay low for the length of your loan.
But the Treasurer took aim at a growing chorus of foreign economists and analysts who predict doom for our local housing market.
Is to just say, well, you know, there's a bit of a housing bubble emerging in Australia. That is a rather lazy analysis. I don't see at the moment any substantial risk.
Ross Greenwood, 9 News.
A high salt intake has long been linked with unhealthy blood pressure, but new research suggests sugar is to blame. The theory could have major consequences for the millions of Australians suffering from high blood pressure.
Lisa Trin has been living a sugar-free lifestyle since 2009.
I feel great. It's just amazing like how your body feels and your skin and everything.
She and her husband changed their diets and even set up a health food business after several cases of diabetes in their families.
There's just so much more healthier options that we can have instead of sugar, so just cut sugar out of our diet completely.
Too much energy increases your body weight, which ultimately will increase your cholesterol and blood pressure levels and your disease risk.
New research published in the American Journal of Cardiology suggests excessive sugar could be the leading cause of high blood pressure, rather than salt intake. It argues high levels of sugar affect a central part of the brain that controls a person's hunger, causing the heart rate to quicken and blood pressure to rise.
What we know is people who eat more sugar are also those that are more overweight.
4.6 million Australians have high blood pressure. Almost half of those don't know it, and 75% are overweight or obese. The Heart Foundation believes too much salt is still the bigger concern for Australians.
We know that Australians are eating around about 3 times more salt than they should.
Experts say people with high salt levels tend to consume a lot of sugar as well. So to combat this, you can eat naturally sweet fruit and vegetables, including berries, bananas, beets and carrots. Their other tip: stay away from soft drinks.
These should be regarded as poisons in my view.
Continue cutting sugar out of our diet. I say go for it, try it.
Laura Spurway, 9 News.
Well, scientists in New Zealand have begun examining the remains of a rare giant squid. The female creature was captured by fishermen in the Antarctic's remote Ross Sea earlier this year before it was brought to Auckland. Weighing half a tonne, the intact specimen has now been thawed out after being put on ice 8 months ago. There's been a great deal of interest in the project, with hundreds of thousands of people live streaming footage of the examination on the internet. Sport now, and North Melbourne's Brent Harvey plans on buying Josh Selwood a beer after Harvey was cleared to play in Friday night's preliminary final against Sydney. Selwood gave evidence which helped overturn the Kangaroos' one-match ban.
I think he just came in and, told the truth, so it's fantastic. If I see him out after we're playing the grand final, I will certainly buy him a beer.
Harvey is now free to play in North's first preliminary final since 2007. Well, Gary Ablett is officially in a league of his own, becoming the first player to be named an All-Australian for a record 8th straight season. His selection intensifying speculation about whether he can become a triple Brownlow medalist. Joel Selwood was named captain of the All-Australian team for the 2nd straight year, while the Sydney Swans top the team with 4 inclusions, among them Lance Buddy Franklin, Josh Kennedy, Nick Malcheski and Nick Smith. Well, the NRL has slapped the North Queensland Cowboys with a $10,000 fine for criticism coach Paul Green made of the judiciary. The Cowboys are fuming. Tarek Sims will miss the rest of the season for a shoulder charge. The Panthers, meanwhile, are enjoying the weekend off, and Jamal Idris has revealed one of the secrets to his return to form after taking a break from the game during the season.
This year could have been a write-off for the man they called Jammer. Personal issues forced him to take a break from the game. It was a time for readjustment and refocus. A sign that has happened was his decision to pop the question to Amy Rowe, a girl he has been friends with since he was 9.
Was he romantic?
Yes, he was very romantic.
Talking one knee or?
Yeah, he was down on one knee. We've got it all on video too, so there's evidence. Yeah, he did it with our puppy dog, so it was pretty cute.
So hang on, were you filming and proposing at the same time?
I just played some music, she didn't know the camera was on, and I had good form, straight back.
You can tell the couple are comfortable together. The bathroom mirror is something of an issue.
Who spends more time in the bathroom getting ready in the morning? Is it you or him?
This afternoon, I think it might have been him. Yeah, he takes a little bit of time doing the hair.
You like the hair?
I love the hair. He's not allowed to let the hair go anywhere. Yeah, it's awesome.
During the tough times, Jamal's mum was there for him, as was Amy. He knew then that she was the one.
What does she mean to you, mate?
I guess at the moment, she's definitely been my rock and being held strong with me, her and my mother as well, so got me through a tough time and come out the other end.
The Cowboys have never had a good relationship with the NRL. The Tariq Sims tackle hasn't helped. They copped the 5-week ban and dropped their own hit on the game's decision makers on the way through.
The biggest thing and the biggest challenge for this judicial system or the judiciary within rugby league is consistency. And me as a coach and the club have no faith that there's any consistency in what they do.
And the Dragons are in a world of hurt. Brett Morris wants out, and negotiations are dragging on with Origin star Trent Merrin, and he's not happy.
I think at the start it did frustrate me, especially the efforts you put into the club. It's, I think you personally would think that they'd have something sorted straight away, but it's a business.
Danny Weidler, 9 News.
A-League club, the Melbourne Victory, have thrashed Canberra-based side Tuggeranong United in the FFA Cup. The Victory scoring 3 goals in just 10 minutes, eventually finishing the match with a competition-high 6-0 win. It wasn't as easy for the Mariners, who defeated Olympia FC 3-1. Australian cricket captain Michael Clarke has had a major setback in his recovery from a hamstring injury. He's been ruled out of the one-day series against Pakistan next month and remains in doubt for the 2 following tests. Cricket Australia's physio says the injury is more serious than first hoped, confirming a significant hamstring injury. And James Magnussen has shaken up his preparation for the Rio Olympics by parting ways with longtime coach Brant Best. The missile is still to decide on a new mentor, but said in a statement he wanted to achieve a renewed sense of invigoration under a new coach. Magnussen hasn't swum since the Pan Pacs as he recovers from a back injury. Coming up after the break, all the finance and weather details in Australia and around the world. Taking a look at the international market numbers now. In Australia, the All Ords closed down 29 points. Japan's Nikkei was down 36 points. Hong Kong's Hang Seng was weaker, so was Britain's FTSE 100. To the US, the Dow Jones gained 129 points, while the Nasdaq was also stronger. Turning to commodities, price of gold is stronger, while oil is trading at $94 a barrel. To the currency markets, the US dollar is weaker right across the board, while the euro is mixed against the majors, and the Aussie dollar is fetching 91 US cents. Just recapping our main stories now, and there are serious concerns this morning for 2 brothers missing on the New South Wales far north coast. Jaden and Joseph Brady were believed to be with their father, but he has since been arrested and won't give police information on their whereabouts. And at least 3 NATO troops and several innocent bystanders have been killed in a suicide bomb attack in Afghanistan. The terrorists struck an official motorcade near the US Embassy in Kabul. The Taliban has reportedly claimed responsibility. Turning now to the weather forecast around the world, and starting with Australia. Cairns a fine day, 29 degrees is the top there, also the top for Brisbane. Sydney a fine day, 22 degrees. There will be some showers for Canberra and Melbourne. It'll be 18 degrees in Adelaide, also some showers there. Across the Tasman to New Zealand, Auckland a top of 16, while there will be some showers for Wellington and for Christchurch. A fine and hot day in Los Angeles, 36 degrees, while there will be some thunderstorms in Dallas, 31 21 there. To South America, Santiago, a partly cloudy day, 20 degrees is the top. Dubai, also partly cloudy, 38 degrees is the top there. Over to Europe, London, partly cloudy, while Paris will have some thunderstorms, 27 degrees, while it will be partly cloudy in Rome, 27 there too. To South Africa, Johannesburg, a fine day, 28 degrees is the top. Some storms for Bangkok and Manila, some showers for Singapore, 33 degrees, and it'll be partly cloudy in Jakarta, 34 is the top. Seoul and Tokyo, partly cloudy, while there will be some thunderstorms and showers for Hong Kong, 30 degrees is the top there. And that is the morning news, finance and sport. I'm Lara Vella. Have a great day.
This has been 9 News, brought to you by Qantas.